Hello and welcome back to Fatal 12. On the last episode, Oddette has proposed a second alliance with Alan and Rinka because she's aware of the plan to double cross her and get her eliminated. Out of the 7 people left, there are currently 2 teams of 3, so someone's off on their own, which is you know, participant number 4. And I believe both teams are gunning for him first, so that should be interesting, to be fair. And believe it or not, Alan has just smuggled us guns. The more details I recap, the more I find it laughable, really, but we may as well see where this goes. So, without further ado, there's no doubt it would be devastating if their plan goes off without a hitch. Tokyo Tower is located in the Minato ward, which is also home to the other important places like the Imperial Palace and the National Diet Building. They'll be the center of Japan's attention if they target a place like that. Plenty of tourists have been visiting ever since the Sky Tree got built. Considering it was built, I don't think it's a natural tree, so I wonder what it's called. I'm assuming it's just a skyscraper, maybe. The entire world will have no choice but to take notice once tourists become victims, at which point they'll be able to spread their message. They might have factored all that into their plan. We're best off focusing on Tokyo Tower and leaving the rest to the police. Huh? Didn't you tell me we shouldn't get them involved? I only meant in respect to you. If the journos know this much already, then the police should also have a rough idea of what they're planning. Security is tight around that area. They won't just sit back and let tourists have their way. Not tourists, terrorists. They won't just sit back and let tourists have their way. So we should leave it to them to deal with the non-participants. Ironic as it all is, our previous deaths will be kept. Huh? Our previous deaths will be keep us safe no matter what we do. Do you think they'll try to use the other attacks as a diversion? No doubt about it. We're the only ones who know about you, and he'll probably get past security by using a disguise. Let's assume the police have gotten wind of their plan. I'm pretty sure they would have security carry out bag searches all around places like Tokyo Tower. Letting you get close is all he needs. Once there, he can neutralize the security detail and get far enough to blow himself up. His explanation helps me realize what they're implying. Security teams probably aren't trained in hand-to-hand combat. They won't stand a chance against you. Based on what Shigetsugu told me, even a group of adults won't be enough to stop him. He isn't considering the consequences of his actions either. All he's concerned about is setting things off and then disappearing. You're the only one we're concerned with. Yep. Well, him and anyone else with him. What's the most well-known part of Tokyo Tower? I've never been. The observatories are probably the most famous spots. There are always lots of people at them. I'm pretty sure it has 2 observatories. The standard observatory at 500 feet and the special observatory at 800 feet. Since there's an extra fee to access the special one, you'll find most people at the regular one. The staff conducts bag checks just before you make your way up to them too. Those kind of rather symbolic spots. People are attached to the view of the world they see in their daily lives. These spots serve as something as a window to different reality. despite the fact that it's still the same world. Quite the poet, aren't you? Maybe you'd make a good terrorist after all. As if. Alan brushes off her quip without effort. People are aiming to bomb one of Tokyo Tower's observatories. I know this is happening for a fact, but it somehow doesn't feel real. Perhaps there's no surprise, even when handling a gun. Perhaps there's no surprise when even handling a gun fails to give me the reality check. One thing I can say for sure, though, is that we can't just let this happen. Countless innocent people are going to die if we do. Whether children or adults, Japanese or foreign, they'll all die an unfair death. I could sympathise with the organisation if they simply strove to make people notice, to make people take notice of what's going on in the world. There's no justice in spreading your message at the expense of other people's lives, though. Absolutely none. I wouldn't even describe their actions as cruel. What you've done so far, not to mention what he's planning to do, all of it is pure, unbridled brutality. I can't help but grit my teeth in disgust. Naomi lost her life to such brutality. Does that mean I'm trying to mete out justice? Am I merely bound by a sense of duty? Neither. I'll bring back Naomi and prevent him from hurting anyone else. I'm fueled by sheer determination, nothing else. Anyone else, sir? Following that, we begin to discuss our plan for tomorrow. Technically, all I contribute is a few nods to show that I'm listening, but the more concrete their plan gets, the more nervous I become. So my Miharu and Scale acts in the face of all that is what has me most curious. What? How Miharu and Scale act in the face of all that is. Huh? All of this. See, helps if I read. What has me the most curious. Oddette said that they probably figured out that she's double-crossed them, but that would also won't think much of it. Miara's personal motivations aside, their main goal is to eliminate Alan and Oddette. Even if they don't manage to elect you themselves, they won't run the risk of having any of their cards exposed. Oddette and Alan probably feel the same, considering they're following me. They're allowing me the right to elect you. I know you the most out of everyone, so I can agree with that choice. The rest is up to me. That's an interesting game plan, though, because once we elect you, it's a 3 versus 3. And at that point, who do we have win? Because that's the final 6. Because Oddette and Alan have been the powerhouses of this game so far. And suddenly, Scales obviously came in with, I don't want to say underhanded tactics, but he's been rather smart about it. So has Miharu. Whereas Federico has just jumped ship, and Rinka's kind of just been caught up in the middle of it. Anyway, that was off track. I'm sorry. My only choice is to get, his regret out of him. Although anxious, part of me feels good about this being something only I can do. I want to die by your hands. His words are akin to a curse for me. However, they also serve as evidence that I can still learn his regret. I'm going to guess it's something like that he regrets killing people. Just as Oddette had said, I can't go home once we finish our talk. I stay at the warehouse and get some sleep. It's for the best. I'd get arrested immediately if I were to get caught carrying a gun. And according to her, it's far less risky to move in the morning as opposed to middle of the night. I can't sleep. It's cold, dark, and lonely here. Alan was kind enough to prepare a blanket for me, but it's still my first time sleeping outdoors like this. I can't adapt to this environment so easily. The humidity doesn't help much either. Are we not able to check each other's cards? Because I know obviously Naomi couldn't see our cards, but what if another player tries to look at our cards? I don't think we ever tested that, at least with my hero. That said, starting early tomorrow, I need to get as much sleep as I can. With that in mind, I threw the blanket over my head with a groan. You should get as much sleep as you can, kid. Says the person who's not sleeping. I'm surprised you're worried about me. You're the key to this whole plan, unfortunately. Don't worry about me, though. I ain't a scrawny brat like you. Yeah, she's not. So much for pulling your punches. It ain't unusual to go a night or two without sleep on a boat. Then again, there are other times when you're so bored out of your skull that sleep's the only option. On a boat? I realised that I've begun to take an interest in her through my inquiry. I was so terrified of her before, but now my impressions changed just after speaking with her for a bit. Or to her for a bit. Oh. This your way of getting info out of me? No, that was my... Relax, I get it. You ain't dumb, but you ain't no schemer either. That's the difference between you and me, Haru. I drew my eyes off her, prompting her to continue. I'm a woman of the high seas, despite appearances. I think that makes perfect sense, actually. You could call me a shipping agent of sorts. Not your run-of-the-mill one. I ship anything from letters to illegal goods, so long as the request interests me. Weapons, illegal booze, you name it. Even people at times. But one thing I've never dealt with is hot wood. That's a surprise. Well, I get maybe. I can't tell if it's a surprise or not. But the one thing I never dealt in was hard drugs. I just ain't about that. Didn't stop people from coming onto me with them, but they're sleeping with the fishes now. So you killed them? Why? Or did you just intentionally do a bad job? I mean, like, fair enough just saying no and turning them down, but I guess that's probably because they try to blackmail, I guess. I'll assume that's a metaphor. She laughs in response. Just hearing about her work, she does throw me off yet again. That being said, when she said she obviously ferries people, is it like people who want to be ferried or people being ferried against their will? Our perspectives on what normal must be completely different. In that sense, I've been completely blind to how people, other than myself, have gone about their lives. Our good friend over there ain't got no issue sleeping. He seems pretty used to this kind of situation despite his position. He must have lived a pretty wild life up until now. Just goes to show that you can't judge someone until you meet them. Anyway, that's enough chit-chat for tonight. You feeling less tense yet? Chances are you'll wake right up when the sunlight bursts in here. So rest up while you can. Okay. I actually feel like I understand her even less now. She deals with illegal goods for work, and yet claims to be anti-drugs. Yeah, it's a bit funny to hear, to be fair. She even tried to help me sleep. I've never met someone as difficult to figure out as her. It does make me think, though. No two people are exactly alike, so that's only natural. We simply don't know each other as well as enough to truly understand them. The first time I met you was just a kid full of curiosity and love for Shigetsugu, the man who he considered to be his grandfather. There was more to him, though. He was also a member of a terrorist organization before that. He then became the one responsible for Naomi's death, and now wishes for his death by my hand. I don't know which side of him is the real one. Both. Because obviously there was the him with his memories and then him without his memories. And they're both him. I will soon though. I'm sure it will tie into his regret. I feel my body gradually reach its limit as I think about this though. All this. Soon enough I succumb to the temptation of sleep. Let me guess, you get like 2 hours worth of sleep. Oguma, I'm gonna guess. Oguma Mao finds herself browsing through her social network while waiting on the train. Really, Mao? Shame. In doing so, she stumbles across an alarming headline. For real? She follows the headline to its source right away. This is an article she has to read, no matter what. A number of bags with suspicious materials within them have been found around Kamiyacho Station. Sounds related to what happened to Norin. Suspicious materials probably means bombs. Did they manage to catch whoever planted them? I wasn't familiar with the situation itself, but she knows Tokyo Tower is not far from it. She's also aware that merely one station away from it is... Oh, so many Japanese stations. Kasumi Kaseki is what I'm going to guess it is. Home of the majority of the country's cabinet ministry offices. What's more, Roppongi is in the opposite direction. Was this an attempted terrorist attack? An attack there would throw all of Japan into panic, depending on how far the damage extended. Mao typically only pays attention to celebrity news, but even she comprehends the potential danger here. Whoa. They still haven't found any suspects. Based on the articles, all they found were the bags. Mecca even got mentioned, or even got a mention. The events at Mecca were mildly considered to be a result of a terrorist activity now. Reporting an attack on that scale as merely an accident, especially when it claimed a life, is simply impossible. Only a week has passed since then. It's only natural for this new discovery to be a link to what happened there. Hopefully, they'll get caught soon, for Naomi's sake. I wonder if Rini and Miharuan saw this already. Might as well link them, just to be sure. Mao pasted a link of the article into their group chat, the very same group chat that once included Naomi. Ah, come on. Why do they never look at their phones when I need them to? Just as the claim implies, neither have yet to read her message. She truly believes this is the case, as they should be invested in more than anyone else. I guess. Can't really argue against Mao's logic. Tokyo Tower, one of the most favoured structures in Japan. While its 1,100 feet of height may fall short compared to the Skytree's 2,100, it remains an illustrious sight among the cityscape. The observatory, perched 800 feet above the ground, may require a fee, but one can easily see the entirety of Tokyo from it. Viewing from the city from such a height truly gives a new perspective of what is found on the surface. It almost feels like staring into into an entirely different world. Many people experience a wide range of emotions here, but one person stands out from the rest, one whose purpose is to complete the opposite of theirs. The feelings experienced by these people who stare down at the world only serve to separate them from it. This is no time to let that influence him. He has to focus on what's to come. This is all that this person can think about. I hate it. It's none other than you, the boy meant to lose his life upon carrying out a suicide attack on the Yamanote line. His irritation comes from not only from his sense of duty to alert the world to the plight of others, but also from his own emotions. Emotions he simply cannot control. They became an inseparable part of him the very moment they sprouted. It hurts. That reality pains him. He glances at his phone provided him by his organization to check the news. Reports say that a number of bags of bombs inside with bombs inside have been found in the area. Investigations to determine the responsible party is currently underway. Connections are also being made to the attack of Omeka's Girls' University High School, as the bombs found there were the same type used there. Everything's going well. The more security is concerned with what goes on away from here, the less attention they'll pay to him. Besides, he is well aware that very few people in this country would suspect a child of being responsible for a terrorist attack. They could never fathom that things they see on the news are happening right here next to him, or next to them. He squeezes the bag that he has hoisted from the side. Well, he squeezes the bag he has hoisted in front of him tight. It is the very same bag that he was once meant to use on the Yamanote line. The keychain attached to it is the one he picked himself. However, the explosives within completely outclass those to be used back then. They are custom made by one of the organization's members, one whom Hume has yet to determine whether or not he should refer to as an ally. They know that the organization is on the brink of collapse, so they put all their knowledge and spirit to work. The explosions won't kill you, though. Countless people will die within one of the country's most famous landmarks. But among all the bodies, you will stand tall. Not being able to go out as a hero is somewhat disappointing to him, but the world won't won't have a choice but to take notice of these events. Of course, this isn't True's motive. I can't stop myself anymore. That's what I need to do. And when you do, kill me. His words, while they fall on deaf ears, are directed to one specific person. I better get going again. Yu lines up to purchase a ticket to the observatory, where he accomplishes with ease. It's somewhat rare for a child to come here alone, but not enough for anyone to suspect him. He is just a child, after all. The lady at the counter would never expect that a bomb sits within his bag. Up next is, you cast a glance towards the staff carrying out bag checks. There are two ways to reach the observatory. One is the emergency staircase, and the other is the elevator. The emergency staircase is open during all day for all to use. It should take around 15 minutes to reach the observatory by that route. In order to maximize the number of casualties, both paths must be rendered unusable. That's what the other members are here for, however. The plan has already been put into motion. It's time. A hint of severity takes over his expression. His pupils widen, like those of a wild beast. Because I'm trying to think, I'm thinking cat eyes, based on how it's drawn, but I wouldn't describe that as widening. I'd call it the opposite, because they kind of slim down. But anyway, he makes his way to the baggage check line. In front of him is a child even smaller than him, alongside their parents. Make sure not to look back in order to avoid suspicion. But behind him is also a girl around his age. Then again, Rinka looks around the same age as him, judging solely by height, so he cannot be certain of this. Not like these people matter to you. His only concern lays on whether or not he notices any participant, such as numeral 11. The family in front of him passes through the check without issue. Up next is Yu himself. The moment the staff approaches him, he moves on reflex. Ha! Okay. I wasn't expecting that. He pulls out a gun that he kept hidden under his coat. A Glock 19. Why do we need to know this? Why do we know this? Why do we need to know the specific make? Also was not expecting this, right, to be fair. It is both compact and simple to handle. This is no toy gun. This is a real one as they come. Oh, hi Alan. what the figures. He brings his left hand up with a steady gun before firing 3 shots into the staff member's gut. But he survives, because it's Alan, unless it's not going to be Alan. The gunshots sound far less flashy than in the movies. The reason he avoided the head was simple: the staff member is a participant. You knows that fate will intervene and prevent their death. You came all the way. You came to stop me after all. It's Alan Scorpion, who disguised himself as one of the tower staff. He finds himself crouched on the ground, as his reaction to use assault is a split second too late. The floor is painted red with his blood, but he won't die, because that's what fate will prevent him. Alan's physique is nothing to scoff at, but no amount of muscle can stop a bullet. The damage done will be minimal, due to the bullet being fired at point blank, but it will it'll be more than enough to render him immobile. And this is Rinka. You waste no time with this opportunity. He reaches back and grabs the arm of the girl behind him, pulling her over to him, pointing the gun at her head. Consider her a hostage, but she is Rinka. I'll kill her if you stop the elevator. You has no issues whatsoever killing a non-participant. No one among the crowd is gallant enough to try anything either. Every last one of them is paralyzed with fear after witnessing what just happened. They don't even run up to Alan to make sure he's okay. All they do is scream. Full-scale panic has already set in by the time the other staff and those whose curiosity got the better of them come to the scene. The situation is too far beyond anyone's control at this point. Wait, any normal person would have collapsed from the pain caused by those wounds, but Alan remains able to stare at you dead in the eye. Split-second decisions are what the entire situation demands. You proceeds to take his phone out while keeping the girl close. This is necessary in order to execute their plan. Here we go. He navigates his way and launches a streaming app. The account use of this particular stream is anonymous, but he has all the confidence in the world that the channel will spread like wildfire thanks to social media. I think this is how you do it. He has gone through the motions previously, but it's still hard for him to figure out. He tenses the phone camera towards himself and makes sure he's in the frame, keeping an eye on what's going on around him. He makes a number of inputs before setting up the stream to go live. The title for the stream, which they had decided earlier, is simple: the organization's name plus a suicide bombing stream. You, opting not to rely on his card book, speaks to the viewers in somewhat crude Japanese. I'm about to carry out a suicide bombing on Tokyo Tower. Plenty of viewers got hooked by the title alone. That being said, the comments are full of nothing but trolls. Most are saying things along the lines of "quit the act, kids," and "nice publicity stunt, lol." Some of the choice examples. This is why they should age gate the net, and there's some new viral marketing thing. The view count may have spiked initially, but many begin to leave after seeing a wave of incredulous comments. A huge surge is yet to happen. You pays no attention to the comment section, of course. I have a hostage. This gun is real. I've shot a person over there with it. Even with that said, he has still a good idea of how people will react. His time spent watching TV on Shigetsugu's house wasn't for nothing. His unfamiliarity with streaming leads him to leave himself out of the frame at the time, but he eventually turns the camera towards Alan. It's fine if you don't believe me. You're the type of people I'm doing this for in the first place. This is a message for all you people who don't care about the world beyond your bubble. A message for all those who suffer. A message from all this is stuff from the outside of it. He speaks slowly to his audience. He figures the stream will be perceived as legitimate after showing both the gun and someone who has been shot by it. There will be people who still think it's fake, but also those who will spread it under the belief that it's all real. Not to mention the possibility of people seen currently watching. The general population comes to realise that this is real, though. View counts continue to climb as proof of that. The admins aren't aware of the stream just yet. But you know this will be unable to cut it off when they... What? They will be unable to cut it off when they take notice. Some of you may have connected the dots already, but let me make it clear. I'm the one responsible for the bombing at Emekiko's University High School. I think with that, we'll get into the meat of this stream next time. But I think we know where Alan is. Clearly this is Rinka. We don't know where Oddette is, and we don't know where the other 3 participants are. So I think with that, though, we'll have to call it for next time. If you're curious how this will go, obviously we'll stop you, but beyond that, I guess, feel free to join in next time. With that, goodbye.